Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Since Day One. Before we get into this video today about Drea Kelly as well as her ex-husband R. Kelly, and also today we have in attendance Tracy, and last but not least we have R. Kelly's goddaughter Jane. And before we get into this video today, you guys go ahead and like the video, comment down below, and if you are new, smash that subscribe button to take flight with us.
Fake love, I don't need it, you can keep it, that's a fact. I had to make up my mind. I took that weight on my shoulder. I done been down for
Y'all, like, I've never had anything just make me speechless. Like, I am so speechless. I just don't know what to say. I don't know what opinion to give on this situation that we're currently going through with the third week of R. Kelly's trial. Because I just be thinking to myself, like, dang, it can't get no worse than this. And it's just like R. Kelly was showing nothing but repetitive, disgusting behavior. I'm just so blown back, y'all. Like, I just don't even know what to say, except for just read to y'all what the news is reporting to me, because my supporters and I and the people who have been rocking with me since literally day one, we know what's going on. But for the new people here, this is what we do. We just make it make sense for ourselves. So with that being said, y'all, let's just go ahead and get into the video. Okay, audio is on. Jurors are in place. The next government witness is a woman testifying under the pseudonym Pauline. Pauline is the childhood friend of Jane, who testified earlier in the trial that R. Kelly repeatedly abused her on video beginning when she was 14. We were like sisters, like best friends. Pauline at one point went looking for Jane at R. Kelly's home and found her with R. Kelly in the log cabin room. R. Kelly said he was looking for bruises. He said that's how he looks for bruises, she said. I said, oh, okay then, and he stated that we all have secrets. R. Kelly instructed Pauline to have contact with Jane and then him, and she complied. They asked her, why did you do that? She says, because he told me to. She was 14 years old. Pauline testifies that she had relations with R. Kelly more than 80 times between the ages of 14 and 16. Pauline testified she also had threesomes with R. Kelly and another girl, Brittany. R. Kelly had video recorded the encounters. He had tripods and cameras in the room and kept the tapes in a gym bag, she testified. Pauline was questioned by CPD in 2001 and identified Jane in a photo. She did the same thing when testifying before a Cook County grand jury in 2002, but she lied to the grand jury and said she had never seen Jane and never had any type of contact with R. Kelly. Pauline did not tell state prosecutors that she also had contact with R. Kelly when she was underage. I did not want to have myself involved. I didn't want to put Rob in an even worse situation. I was trying to be as loyal as possible. During R. Kelly's 2008 trial, Pauline came back in town and met with R. Kelly on his tour bus right outside the 26th in California Courthouse. Jane was there too, she testified. When Pauline was 20, she placed a phone call to R. Kelly's studio. She hadn't heard from him for a while and he was not being a good boyfriend. So she called posing as Brittany and asked for money. Well, he called it extortion. I called it don't play with me. Girls get mad and say stupid stuff and want to slap you or bust your car windows out. It was just a threat. He knew that. If he didn't know that, he would have had me around all these years, Pauline says. I was just trying to get his attention and he called, so it worked. I loved him and I still love him, Pauline testifies. In a weird way, I know you might judge me, but it's just like best friend meets boyfriend meets dad. R. Kelly's attorney Jennifer Bonjean on cross, noting that Pauline didn't come forward with the story about encountering Jane and R. Kelly until 2019. You failed to disclose any information about what you saw. Pauline, oh, I didn't fail. I was a scared minor, so that's how I reacted to it. Bonjean suggesting that Pauline's relationship with R. Kelly actually began when she was legally an adult. The extortion attempt did not specifically threaten to reveal that they had any relations when she was underage, Pauline acknowledges. In 2001, Pauline was interviewed by CPD investigators with her mom present and was shown a picture of R. Kelly and Jane. I said F. I was nervous because my mom was with me. I knew my mom knew that it was Jane, so I couldn't say it wasn't Jane. She said investigators never asked her about her own relationship with R. Kelly, so she didn't volunteer the information. Pauline being cross-examined by R. Kelly's attorney, Jennifer Bonjean, per usual defense tactic. She's trying to highlight inconsistencies in her prior statements to authorities, typically small details. Trying to pin Pauline down on how many times she had relations with R. Kelly while underage. Pauline just testified more than 80. Bonjean points out that she told investigators previously she had hundreds of times. Pauline says, you could say 100, you could say 200. We effed a lot, she said. I would say whether it was once or twice, what's wrong is wrong. Doing what seems to be her R. Kelly impersonation, Pauline describes in a raspy voice what R. Kelly told her about cooperating with police. He said, you already done effed up. You already done said who's who, and you gonna stick with that. Bonjean points out this detail was not something Pauline has shared with investigators at any time prior to today. Pauline said as a middle schooler she drank Hypnotic, a sweet vodka-based liquor, with R. Kelly. Bonjean points out that the drink hit the market in 2002. Hypnotic website says drink stepped out on the scene in 2001. In either case, not out when Pauline was 14 or 15. Pauline gives the recipe for a cocktail R. Kelly made called the Incredible Hulk, Hennessy and Hypnotic. Maybe it's green. Bonjean points out that Pauline still goes by the nickname that R. Kelly gave her as a teenager. Odd if she feels he abused her. Yes, he abused me. I really loved him and we were in a relationship, and yeah, I'm gonna call myself when I'm gonna call myself. R. Kelly's defense attorney Jennifer Bonjean asked Pauline if R. Kelly's wife and children were ever in the home when all of these encounters were happening in the house. Pauline said yes, sometimes they were. Pauline has Bonjean ask when Pauline first had relations with R. Kelly, are you talking about actually doing it or sucking? Because those are two different things. I'm sure you're aware of that. Bonjean points out that Pauline has said she tried to extort Kelly twice, once by threatening to reveal their relationship and once by stealing a tape. Pauline said both times she did not actually get paid. Pauline talks about having had relations at a condo R. Kelly had near his studio, and Bonjean points out that Pauline would have been 17 at the time and not a minor. I was in high school, sweetheart. I was a minor. Bonjean closes out with a question about Pauline's extortion attempts. Pauline, not impressed by this attack on her credibility, she said, that's your closing? Bonjean says she has no more questions, and Pauline says good. Now called to the stand, Tracy, another pseudonym for an alleged minor. Tracy is now 40, met R. Kelly in the spring or summer of 1999 when she was 16. She was an intern at Epic Records, and she was introduced by her boss, Kathy Carroll. Tracy met R. Kelly on her first or second day on the job at his downtown studio. R. Kelly invited her to sit on his lap while he explained the soundboard. She declined. He told her to ask to use the bathroom because there was something he wanted to give her, but she didn't. Sometime later, she saw him at an expo she attended with Carol and a friend. R. Kelly gave her his number, told her to call him. She did that evening, and R. Kelly invited her and a friend to visit his studio. Her friend talked her mom into letting us go, she said. At the studio, R. Kelly eventually got her alone in his office and touched himself as he sat next to her. When she appeared shocked, he said he was sorry he upset me and he had never done anything like that, and that wasn't his usual behavior. She told her friend on the car ride home. The next time Tracy saw him in person, he invited her and her friend to his room at the West End in Chicago. He arrived in the early a.m. and sent her friend to pick up breakfast. R. Kelly has Tracy stripped naked, but she says she doesn't want to have relations. R. Kelly performs oral on Tracy and demands she reciprocate. Tracy testifies this is the first time she had any type of contact with anyone at all. Eventually, he attempts intercourse and stops after she repeatedly asks him to stop. Tracy testifies that she continued to have relations with R. Kelly and visited his studio frequently. On one visit, R. Kelly brought in Jane for a threesome. I was really confused because I didn't really think there was anybody else but me and Rob. I just didn't understand why the other girl was there, and they just seemed to be really familiar with each other, like they knew what was about to happen, and I was the only one who didn't. Tracy later sued R. Kelly in 2001, and R. Kelly settled out of court for $250,000 but didn't pay out the full amount. On cross-examination, R. Kelly attorney Jennifer Bonjean tackles dates and when Tracy met R. Kelly and first had encounters with him. She has testified it was when she was 16, but in other points, including in her 2001 lawsuit against R. Kelly, she says she was 17, which is the age of consent in Illinois. Tracy has no paperwork showing her internship took place in 1999, and Bonjean questions why prosecutors didn't charge R. Kelly or at least call her as a witness in his 2008 trial if she told them she had relations with R. Kelly and the alleged victim, Jane. Bonjean says, you know the case will be stronger if you're under the age of 17. Tracy says if that was the case, then it wouldn't have been a civil case, it would have been a criminal case. Bonjean says, I guess the prosecutors didn't believe your story back then. Tracy says she told investigators in 2001 about a threesome with Jane, who was the victim at the center of the case. Bonjean says they must not have believed her. They're not here, so I can't speak for them, she said. Bonjean says, oh, they will be. Bonjean is now starting to ask about details in the lawsuit, including the phone records she provided showing contact with R. Kelly that started in 2000. Jurors have not heard this yet, but two of Tracy's friends also submitted affidavits as a part of the lawsuit saying Tracy met R. Kelly at the Black Women's Expo in Chicago in 2000. Tracy testified this morning it was 1999. We are now going through the interrogatories from the lawsuit. Again, all of the questions and answers posed in the litigation mention 2000 as the first year of the events in question, not 1999. Bonjean says, I know you call yourself a minor, but at no point did you ever allege that you were under the age of 17 when you had relations with R. Kelly, correct? She says, I'm sorry, but that is not correct. I have always told the truth of how old I was. We are back after a short break. Bonjean still getting after Tracy about her recollection of what her age was at the time of her relationship with R. Kelly. Tracy has repeatedly apologized in a quiet voice when she can't recall or ask for questions to be repeated. With each I'm so sorry, Bonjean seems to grow more annoyed. You don't need to apologize to me, Bonjean said with an exasperated sigh. Just tell the truth. Tracy says she told a detective, Kinsella, that she was 16 when she met R. Kelly. Bonjean asked her to repeat it. Tracy says, I'm sorry, I can speak slower for you. Detective Kinsella. Tracy acknowledges she initially misidentified herself in the still photo from R. Kelly's tape when shown the image in 2019. I did make a mistake. You are 100% correct, she tells Bonjean. Someone keeps yawning in a loud and protracted fashion into one of the courtroom microphones. Not sure who it is, but I could venture a guess. He sounds like Prince Valium from the movie Spaceballs. Bonjean now asking about Tracy's friend Kelly Witherspoon, who went with Tracy to the Chicago Black Women's Expo to get R. Kelly's autograph for a friend. Witherspoon has previously given a sworn statement that the event was in 2000. This was before they ever had relations. This cross-examination has taken on a new dimension of weirdness as Tracy alleges R. Kelly reached down her dress at a nightclub in 2002. Tracy, you need me to help clarify for you a bit more? You don't have to be mean to me. Bonjean says she's trying. Tracy says try a little harder. Bonjean is finished. Brindley says he has a quick cross on behalf of Daryl McDavid. He's asking about R. Kelly's wife. The defense has hoisted the theory that the videotape R. Kelly's camp was trying to get back was a threesome involving the singer, his wife, and an adult woman. Brindley asks about an interview with law enforcement where Tracy said R. Kelly's wife had allegedly told her she liked Tracy's physique. Tracy says she thought the comment was a come on. It just felt indecent. It felt wrong. Brindley is done. Now redirect. Prosecutors showing that Tracy disclosed in 2019 the two incidents she described for jurors today at Chicago Tracks and the West End Hotel. The prosecutor is asking Tracy, is the age when you met R. Kelly firm in your mind? She says yes, 16 years old. And they asked her, and is the year you met him firm in your mind? She says yes, 1999. And what were you doing then? I was just finishing at Rich East High School. Tracy is off the stand. Next up is Kelly Adams, formerly Kelly Witherspoon, who was Tracy's good friend at the time she met R. Kelly. Kelly Witherspoon says Tracy graduated high school early at age 16 and got an internship with Epic Records. It was during that internship that they attended the Black Women's Expo at McCormick Place. A short time later, Witherspoon was with Tracy at the West End Hotel. After R. Kelly came to the room, he sent her to get breakfast. She was gone a couple of hours and waited for Tracy in the lobby. She says she never saw any physical contact between them. Judge Lynon Weber adjourns the trial for the day. Cross-examination of Witherspoon will begin at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Prosecutors have said they intend to rest their case on Tuesday or Wednesday.
So long, sleeping from soap with a now I'ma step on these little bitty bitches. Here's some brand new Gucci low, some Gucci walking. I got tired of eating Big Mama's chicken. Now it's business when I walk out.